is the silent assassin of dreams. It creeps into the mind when your ambition rises. It whispers doubt when your vision gets clear. It paralyzes the strong, silences the bold, and imprisons the genius within you. But today, you will put fear on trial. Today, you will execute it with clarity, courage, and conviction. You were not born to be timid. You were not crafted by the Creator to live in the shadows of your potential. You were built to think with purpose, to act with power, and to command your destiny. Fear is not a wall, it is a fog, and when the light of truth shines through, it disappears. So today, I'm not here to comfort your fear. I'm here to kill it. Let us begin. Fear exists only in the mind. It is not real in the way a mountain is real or a storm is real. It does not have shape, mass, or voice, unless you give it one. Fear is a shadow on the wall of your imagination, a trick of the light that grows only when you shrink away from the fire of your own potential. It has no power over you except the power you permit. And every time you bow to it, every time you entertain its whispers, you feed it, you strengthen it, you give it shape, you let the shadow become the master. But the mind that created fear is the same mind that can destroy it. Understand this truth and you will never be the same again. You must begin to see fear not as a warning but as a signal that you are standing at the edge of growth. Fear does not show up when you're coasting. It doesn't scream when you're settling. It rises when you stand at the threshold of something greater, and it tests your resolve not to break you, but to ask you, how much do you want this? When a man faces a challenge and recoils, fear becomes fact in his life. But when that same man steps forward, when he speaks in the face of doubt, moves in the face of discomfort, acts in the presence of uncertainty, he dissolves the illusion. Fear cannot live in motion. Fear cannot breathe in the fire of decision. Fear is suffocated by purpose, silenced by faith, and buried beneath the footsteps of the persistent. Do not be deceived by its disguise. Fear often wears the mask of reason. It will say, now is not the right time. It will dress itself up in logic and practicality. But listen closely. Those words are often the camouflage of cowardice. They are the stall tactics of a mind that has not yet seized control. You must learn to distinguish between true caution and fear-based hesitation. One preserves your life, the other poisons it slowly. I have seen the strong crumble, not from failure, but from fear of failure. I have seen the gifted bury their talents, not from lack of opportunity, but from fear of judgment. I have seen men and women sit in silence with their dreams locked inside, too afraid to speak them into the world lest someone laugh or scoff or doubt. But let me tell you this, the world does not honor the fearful. It remembers the bold. You were not given your vision to bury it beneath anxiety. You were not granted your dreams to leave them unrealized. The very fact that you see something greater is proof that it is possible. But between what you see and what you achieve stands fear, daring you to rise. Will you run from it or through it? The mind is a garden. Fear is the weed. If you do not pluck it, it will take root. It will wrap itself around your goals, your faith, your focus, choking them slowly until you forget what you were reaching for in the first place. But the man who tends his mind, the man who watches his thoughts, who speaks life and belief into his own spirit, he is the one who harvests greatness, because he does not tolerate fear. He replaces it. He replaces fear with clarity, with purpose, with daily action. He does not sit and wait for courage. He builds it one decision at a time. He says, I feel the fear and I move anyway. And that simple statement becomes his weapon. It becomes his shield. It becomes the hammer with which he builds his future. You must understand, fear feeds on stillness. But when you move, when you act with purpose, with belief, with unshakable resolve, you starve it. You strip it of influence. You deny it access to your destiny. Do not wait to feel brave. Do not wait for the fear to leave. Kill it with action. Kill it with discipline. Kill it by focusing your entire being on the mission that burns in your soul. Let your desire become a flame so bright, so hot, that no fear can stand in its light. And if you should fall, rise again. If you feel fear again, face it again. Over time, your fear will fear you. So choose now. Choose power. Choose motion. Choose to lead your mind instead of being led by it. Because once you control your thoughts, once you decide that no illusion will stand between you and your calling, then, and only then, will you know what it means to be truly free. Let the world watch as you rise, not in the absence of fear, but in defiance of it. This is your moment. This is your decision. Step forward and never look back. A mind without a clear purpose is like a ship without a rudder, adrift, vulnerable, and at the mercy of every wind and wave. It does not matter how powerful the engine is. It does not matter how grand the design or how skilled the crew. Without direction, it goes nowhere. And worse, it is pulled by the currents of fear, doubt, and distraction into dangerous, uncharted waters. But the moment you set a definite course, the moment you decide where you're going and why you must get there, the fog lifts and fear begins to fall away. Clarity of purpose is not just a tool, it is a weapon. It cuts through confusion like a blade. It silences the noise of the world and amplifies the voice of destiny. When your mind is focused on one burning objective, fear finds no foothold. Distraction has no room to take root. You become dangerous, not to others, but to the excuses that once held you back. I have seen men transformed by purpose. I have watched ordinary people rise from the depths of despair, not because their circumstances changed, but because their vision sharpened. One man, crippled by failure, stood before the mirror and declared, "I will no longer live small." He wrote down a goal so clear, so vivid, that he could see it every time he closed his eyes. And that single decision to define the reason he must rise became the turning point of his life. Within months, his energy changed, his habits changed, his circle changed, because his direction had changed. Clarity breeds conviction. It gives birth to boldness. It transforms the invisible into the inevitable. And it does not require perfection. It only requires precision. A man with a clear goal will outwork, outlast, and outfight a man who merely hopes for something better. Hope is passive. Vision is power. And when that vision becomes your obsession, fear becomes a distraction you no longer entertain. You must see your goal as if it were already accomplished. You must feel the weight of it in your hands before the world can see it. You must become so consumed by your purpose that excuses sound like foreign language, and failure is not an option but a stepping stone. Write it down. Read it aloud. Engrave it into your morning, into your mind, into your movement. Every day you wake up without a clear purpose, you give fear the right to speak. But every day you rise with clarity, you take that right back. I tell you now, the man who does not know what he wants will always be a slave to what others want for him. He will live by accident, not by design. He will drift through life reacting rather than commanding. But you, if you are to rise, must become a master of intention. You must decide what kind of life you will build. You must see the house before the bricks are laid. You must see the victory before the battle begins. Do not wait until everything is clear to begin. Begin and clarity will grow. Begin and courage will meet you on the path. Begin and your purpose will light a fire in your soul that no fear can extinguish. Your mind is the soil, purpose is the seed. Plant it deep, water it daily, and it will grow strong enough to carry you through every storm. When you know your purpose, you walk differently. You speak with weight, you move with urgency, you refuse to quit, not because it's easy, but because it matters. And that, my friend, is the mark of every great achiever. Not the absence of fear, but the presence of purpose so fierce, fear cannot hold its ground. So I ask you, What do you want with such clarity that it keeps you awake at night? What is the vision that pulls you forward even when comfort calls you back? What dream burns so bright in your spirit that you are willing to risk failure to pursue it? Name it, claim it, write it, speak it. Let it become the lens through which you see every decision, every day, every delay. Because when you move with clarity of purpose, you move with power. And that power will open doors, destroy fear, and build a life that commands respect. The future belongs to those who decide with precision, act with intention, and persist with unshakable belief. Now is your time. Define your purpose, and fear will never define you again. Faith is the destroyer of doubt, the master key to achievement, and the greatest weapon ever forged in the battle against fear. Where fear whispers limitation, faith shouts possibility. Where fear halts a man, faith commands him forward. It is not born of ease or luxury, but of decision, clear, conscious, and unwavering, and it must be built, not begged for, grown, not given. Faith is not merely belief, it is belief backed by motion. It is the unseen force that drives you to act when your senses scream retreat. I have seen men stand at the brink of greatness and turn away, not because they lacked talent, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they lacked faith. And I have seen others with no money, no favor, no connections rise to the top because they refused to doubt. They chose to believe in themselves, in their vision, and in the law of cause and effect. They understood that faith was not an emotional luxury, it was a survival necessity in the world of high achievement. Faith is forged in the fires of adversity. It is not fragile, it is not soft, it is tested in rejection, in failure, in ridicule. But every blow it endures makes it stronger, and when you have true faith, faith that is rooted in purpose and fueled by desire, then no mountain intimidates you, no setback shakes you, and no failure defines you. You rise again. You rise better. You rise bolder. The man who walks by faith does not wait for the winds to be right. He sets his sails and commands the storm. He is not driven by what he sees. He is driven by what he knows. He knows that the power to win is already within him, and that external conditions are only reflections of internal beliefs. If he sees lack, he changes the vision. If he sees delay, he strengthens his patience. If he sees obstacles, he sharpens his tools. That is the power of faith. It makes a man the master of circumstance, not the servant of it. Too many live in quiet desperation because they've been taught to wait. Wait for the right time. Wait for the right feeling. Wait for the fear to pass. But the truth is, fear does not vanish before you move. It vanishes as you move. And faith is what makes that first step possible. Faith says, I may not see the whole path, but I trust that it exists, and I trust that every step I take will reveal the next one. You do not build faith by sitting still. You build it by doing, by choosing progress over perfection, by showing up every single day when comfort tells you to quit. Every act of discipline, every refusal to give up, every small victory stacked upon the next, it all adds up. And before you know it, you look back and realize that you have become the person you once hoped to be. Not because you waited for proof, but because you walked in faith until the proof appeared. A farmer does not plant a seed and dig it up the next morning to see if it has grown. He trusts the process. He waters it, protects it, nurtures it, and eventually it breaks the surface. Faith works the same way. You must plant the idea, water it with belief, protect it from the weeds of doubt, and trust that the fruits will come, not instantly, but inevitably. You do your part, the universe does the rest. There will be moments when your faith is all you have, when results are invisible and progress feels slow. But that is not the time to retreat. That is the time to double down. That is the moment that separates the dreamers from the doers, the quitters from the conquerors. Because every man who ever built anything worthwhile had to fight the inner war, and faith was his sword. You must decide now, will you live ruled by fear, or will you rise fueled by faith? Will you listen to the noise of the doubters or to the voice of destiny calling from deep within? Will you bury your vision beneath the weight of uncertainty, or will you lift it high and say, "This is mine, and I will not stop until it is real"? This is the time. This is the moment. Choose faith, not because it's easy, but because it's the only path to power. Breathe it, speak it, walk in it, and when doubt shows up, greet it like an old enemy. Smile and keep moving, because the man with faith cannot be stopped. He may be slowed, he may stumble, but he will never stay down. You are not made to live in fear. You are made to move mountains. So rise now, strengthen your spirit, sharpen your focus, and walk forward with the certainty of one who already knows the victory is yours if only you dare to believe. Persistence is the acid test of every dream. It is the separating line between the wishful thinker and the world changer, between the man who merely desires and the man who demands his future into existence. Persistence is not glamorous, it is not loud, it does not boast or beg for attention, but it is always present in the lives of those who rise to greatness. It is the quiet force behind every success story. The relentless beat of a heart that refuses to surrender. You must understand that fear feeds on inconsistency. It grows stronger every time you pause, every time you hesitate, every time you take a step forward and 2 steps back. But when your actions are relentless, when your decisions are firm, when your will becomes unshakable, fear begins to wither, because fear cannot survive in the presence of a soul that refuses to quit. There is no man who has ever achieved something worthwhile who did not face resistance. Resistance is the furnace in which persistence is forged. You will face setbacks. You will encounter failure. Doors will close. People will doubt you. You may even doubt yourself. But none of that matters. None of it. If you refuse to stop, the man who persists becomes a force like water, carving stone. He may not break through immediately, but over time nothing can stand against him. Every no becomes a challenge. Every fall becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes an opportunity to sharpen his focus. He does not beg for a lighter burden. He builds stronger shoulders. He does not wait for the path to clear. He lays bricks beneath his feet and walks forward, 1 step at a time. Persistence turns the impossible into inevitable. It takes the man who is unseen and makes him unforgettable. It is the decision to act and to keep acting long after the emotion of the moment has passed. And it is in that space, after the excitement, after the applause, after the initial motivation fades, that champions are made. I have known men with brilliant minds and powerful visions, but they lacked persistence, and so they failed. I have seen others less gifted, less resourced, less supported, but they would not give up. They would not turn back. And so they climbed, slowly at first, painfully, perhaps even silently, but climb they did. And in the end, they stood where others only dreamed. Persistence does not require speed. It requires consistency. It is not about how fast you move. It is about how long you are willing to move forward, regardless of what stands in your way. And this must become your creed. I will not quit. I will not fold. I will not be denied. Write it, speak it, live it. Because once that becomes your identity, the world begins to respond differently. Doors begin to open. Resources begin to align. People begin to believe in you because you believe in yourself. And belief, backed by persistence, becomes unstoppable. Let me tell you something plainly. Fear fears the man who keeps showing up. Fear trembles in the presence of consistency. It does not know what to do with the one who fails and rises, who stumbles and steps forward again. It can taunt and delay, but it cannot destroy what it cannot stop. And persistence, real persistence, makes you unshakable. You do not need the approval of others to keep going. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need applause or permission. You need only one thing, the will to continue, day after day, task after task, step after step, until the breakthrough happens, until the world has no choice but to acknowledge what you always knew, that you were born to win. So I say to you now, persist. Persist when it's easy, and especially when it is not. Persist when you're celebrated, and more importantly, when you're overlooked. Persist in the dark when no one sees. Persist through the doubt, the delays, the disappointment, because every act of persistence is a blow struck against fear. Every act of persistence chips away at the wall that stands between you and your destiny. Do not stop, do not pause, do not retreat. You were not made for quitting. You were made to endure, to fight, to finish. The race does not belong to the swift, it belongs to the relentless. Now, go forward. Not someday, not when it feels right, now. Decide that you will not quit, and you have already won half the battle. The rest is just footsteps. And you are more than strong enough to take them. Keep walking, keep building, keep becoming, and watch as fear fades in the shadow of your persistence. No man rises alone. No empire is built on the strength of one set of hands. No mountain is moved by a single will. The world may praise the lone warrior, the self-made man, but look closer. Always, just behind his shadow, you will find the minds that sharpened his own, the voices that spoke belief into his darkest hour, the strength of a united force marching toward a common purpose. This, my friend, is the power of association. This is the principle that transforms ambition into reality. The mastermind. Fear thrives in isolation. It festers in the quiet chambers of a solitary mind. It grows louder when unchallenged, more convincing when unopposed. But bring that fear into the presence of powerful minds, men and women of belief, of courage, of vision, and watch how quickly it loses its voice. The mastermind is more than a meeting of minds. It is a merging of spirits, a welding of purpose, a multiplication of strength. It is where weakness is replaced with wisdom, where doubt is dismantled by discipline, where indecision is broken by the rhythm of progress. You must choose wisely who you walk with, because your future, your success, your freedom from fear depends on it. A single conversation with the right person can birth a breakthrough. One idea, sparked in the furnace of collective thought, can ignite a movement. But walk with the wrong voices, voices of fear, voices of complacency, voices that shrink when faced with challenge, and you will find your own voice growing faint, your dream growing dim, your steps losing strength. Because no one is immune to influence. No one. Do not wait until you are at the top to seek alignment. Seek it now. Build your inner circle not with those who merely agree with you, but with those who challenge you to rise. Surround yourself with thinkers who refuse to settle, builders who demand growth, visionaries who stir something within you. Let your company mirror your calling. Let your associations reflect your aspiration. And do not be afraid to walk away from anything or anyone that does not push you forward. Greatness is not a solo endeavor. It is a harmony of minds, each lending its own note to the symphony of success. When one mind believes, two minds confirm, three minds strategize, and soon fear has no place to land. Because where purpose meets partnership, progress is inevitable. The man who taps into the power of the mastermind discovers that ideas move faster, plans grow stronger, and action becomes easier. There is no shame in collaboration, only strength. There is no weakness in unity, only power. Let me tell you this, fear cannot withstand the weight of accountability. When you are held to a higher standard by those you respect, you rise. When you are encouraged by those who see your potential, you believe. And when you walk alongside others who are also climbing, your stride quickens, your endurance grows, and the summit no longer seems unreachable. This is not theory, it is truth, proven by every man and woman who has ever defied the odds and stepped into their highest calling. There will be moments when your own voice wavers. That is when you must lean on the strength of others. There will be days when your vision blurs. That is when you must borrow the clarity of those who believe in you. There will be battles that feel too great to fight alone. But you were never meant to fight alone. The mastermind exists to remind you that no force, not even fear, can defeat a united front armed with belief, strategy, and unwavering resolve. Build your circle, guard it, invest in it, give to it, let it sharpen you, stretch you, mold you into the leader you are destined to be. Make no mistake. The climb is yours, but the strength to endure it comes from the quality of the company you keep. Iron sharpens iron, wisdom multiplies when shared, and courage, when sparked in one soul, becomes a wildfire in the presence of others. This is your time. The vision you carry is not too big. The fear you face is not too strong. But you must not walk this road alone. Reach for those who see the fire in your eyes. Walk with those who refuse to settle. Join forces with those who will not let you quit. And as your circle rises, so will you. Now stand. Declare your intention. Find your allies. Form your mastermind and begin today the journey not just to success, but to significance. Because the world is waiting and fear is trembling. The future is calling, and your greatest strength lies not just within you, but in the powerful union of minds that believe with you. Assemble them, lead them, and together conquer. Now the choice is yours. You've been given the blueprint, not in theory, but in truth. You've seen the enemy for what it is. Fear is not your master unless you submit to it. Fear is not your limit unless you accept it. You were not born to bow to fear. You were born to rise above it. You were born with a mind capable of shaping destiny, a spirit designed for perseverance, a voice meant to declare victory long before the battle is won. You've learned to master your thoughts, to take control of the battleground within. You've discovered that fear thrives on indecision, but crumbles in the face of definiteness of purpose. You've seen the force of faith in action, faith in yourself, faith in your calling, and faith in the unseen power that moves mountains when persistence meets belief. You've felt the fire of relentless effort, the kind that refuses to stop until the work is done, and you now know the secret strength that lies in connection, the mastermind, the collective will, the unity of purpose that dismantles doubt and amplifies success. But knowledge alone is not enough. Now you must act, you must move, you must decide. And that decision must be final. No more delays, no more waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The right person is you. The only thing standing between where you are and where you were born to be is the courage to take the first step and the discipline to never look back. The world does not need another hesitant soul. The world needs a bold spirit, a mind awakened, a heart on fire, a life that declares, I will not be ruled by fear another day of my life. Let that life be yours. Let that declaration be the foundation of everything you build from this moment forward. You will be challenged. You will be tested, but remember this. Fear is loudest just before the breakthrough. When you feel the resistance, push harder. When you hear the voice of doubt, speak louder. When the night seems longest, hold your vision tighter. Because dawn belongs to the faithful and victory belongs to the persistent. So go with purpose. Go with the strength of a mind renewed, a spirit revived, and a heart resolved. Go with fire in your soul and steel in your will. Kill the fear, claim your destiny, and never look back. Good luck on your journey, though you'll find that with courage, luck often becomes unnecessary. And from the depths of my spirit to yours, thank you. Now go out there and win.